Who is this? What's your operating number?
Conversation anyway.
Whoa, we're gonna have company!
Hello there, and welcome back to We're Gonna Have Company. I'm your host, Carly King, and today I've got something really special for you. This interview means a lot to me. Andor is one of my favorite shows of all time. And to be honest, it's my favorite Star Wars in the modern age and my favorite Star Wars, I think, since watching Return of the Jedi. I know, it's a loaded statement, but I really mean it. It's such an incredible show. I mean, from the acting and the depth, especially when you get a cast of incredibly talented, theatrically trained actors, special things can happen. And I think Andor is just the perfect combination of talented actors, a rich script, and a true story of what it means to fight for something larger than yourself. This episode was recorded live at the 605 Pop Culture Con, presented by Voices Against Cancer, an amazing organization that helps fund families who are facing the challenges of pediatric cancer. Being part of an event that not only brings together fans of pop culture, but also supports such a meaningful cause was truly an honor for me. Now, just a quick heads up before we dive in, since this was filmed live at the convention, the audio may be a little spotty in places, but I promise the conversation more than makes up for it. I had the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Elizabeth Dulau, who plays Kleya Marki, and Pierro Niel-Mee, who plays Erskin, who is Mon Mothma's assistant, both from Andor. We talked about what it was like stepping into a Star Wars series that's already made such an impact, how their theater backgrounds shaped their performances, what it was like working with Tony Gilroy's incredible scripts, and even some fun behind-the-scenes stories that I think you guys are going to love. So without further ado, let's jump into this interview with Elizabeth Dulau and Pierro Niel-Mee. Andor is a series that shows us what it really means to fight for something bigger than ourselves. And to do it not with lightsabers or force powers, but with courage, sacrifice, and that little spark of hope. When you both got the roles in this, did you know how much of an impact it would have?
I think I was just overwhelmed about the fact that I was cast in a Star Wars thing. You know, I really didn't, no, I really was not prepared for the impact that it would have. And I think it's, I'm really, really proud of that, actually. You know, I think we've made a show that feels important, and timely. And so, yeah, I wasn't prepared for it, but it's come as the best, sort of cherry on the cake, really, truly.
And I think the same. I mean, obviously, I came in for the second season, so I sort of saw the impact that the first season had. Yeah, it was like insanely thrilled to be a part of the set. I mean, I was a massive fan, so it was actually quite weird, sort of coming into something that you love so much. But and I think
I didn't know that. Well, you've
Yeah.
Star Wars fan before.
Yeah,
I
big
didn't
Star
know
Wars
this.
fan,
Oh,
big Star Wars fan.
amazing.
But I was watching the first season when I got the meeting through. I was like going through the lines on my sofa whilst watching the first season. It was super weird, but it was obviously that comes through as like untitled Disney thing.
Yeah.
And it was like sort of fake scenes. And I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, this is.
So
this
they
is
didn't
Andor.
even confirm that it was Andor.
No, not
See,
until
I
after the
didn't know
tape. It's
that.
really weird. But then obviously the second season has had such an impact as well, you know, in so many sort of different ways. So yeah, I feel incredibly proud to be a part of something.
Were you feeling any? I was going to ask about how it felt coming into a show that had already been established in season one. Was it nerve-wracking? Were you excited? Was it a mix of both?
Yeah, a mix of both to like the extremes, I think.
Yeah.
Very nerve-wracking, but also with something that means so much to you and that means so much to other people like you guys. It was like, rather than letting any of that sort of filter through, you just go, right, you've got a job to do, and you just sort of crack on with it, I think, and try not to sort of like look someone in the eye who you're working with, you've just watched, you know, and admired, and try not to go like, they're incredible. You have to go there,
Like
you know, that's
Elizabeth,
just another
I'm sure,
actor.
yes.
Yeah, or that's, yeah. But yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, Elizabeth, from the moment I saw you and we saw you in Andor, you were just a trailblazer. Like, you were truly my favorite character in the show. What's it been like playing a character that's exterior is so composed and interior is fueled by her rage against the Empire?
I'm so glad that comes across. Um, I think that was sort of the puzzle of Kleya to work out, actually, because that's not sort of it's not specified in the script that that's what's underneath her, but I'm always fascinated by opposites. So, I feel like in life, most people you meet, their core inner selves do tend to be quite different to the persona they present on the outside. There's very few people in life I've met who I feel like are truly who they are on the inside on their outside. And they're sort of really special people when you meet them. Um, and, as I was exploring Claire, particularly in season one, Tony kept saying to me, she's so controlled, she's so composed. He sort of compared her to a nun a few times in her devotion to the rebellion, like that is her god. Um, and so I was really fascinated then in season two, particularly when with her backstory, I felt like there is something very wild at the core of Claire, actually, because if you're containing something, right, then what are you containing? You must be like that. She's like a pressure cooker. So it was really fun to play with those opposites, and I think it makes a person it makes them feel real when you do that. It was great, yeah.
Definitely. Andor really, it came across 1000%. Andor felt so real. I mean, it reflects a lot of what happens in real life, and it's a way for people to fall into that and deal in a way with topics. And it's truly, like, I mean it when I say Andor is the best.
Thank you.
Ever.
Yeah.
For sure, for
We're
sure.
so proud of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, I want to go back to the beginning. Before you were cast in Star Wars, of course, you both studied acting. You both come from a rich theater background, a lot of Shakespearean theater. Tell me a little bit about that and how it's influenced your approach to acting in Andor.
Interesting. Yeah. I had before Andor, I'd done a couple of TV things, but I'd predominantly done theatre. And Nina Gold, who casts Star Wars, has like a big respect for theatre actors. So you can see that with, like, you see Game of Thrones, that's just sort of littered with like incredible theatre actors, and Andor, like Anton
I
Lesser.
think every single person in the cast has a rich
Yeah.
theatre background. Stellan, Diego,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
like everyone are theatre.
Yeah, and you talk to all of them, and they want to do more, and they're sort of so yeah. I think there's a lot of chatter about it, but how does it inform? I mean, they're such different mediums. So for me, it was like a massive learning curve to figure out to spend that much time on a set and to really sort of figure out how to sort of move that format into sort of like a
Had you been on a film set before?
yeah, I've
Okay,
done a
yeah.
few things. I used to do, yeah, I've done a few things, but it was sort of the most time I'd been in front of a camera, and it was the one I wanted to get right the most. And yeah, it was really interesting. I think what you can see with actors who have done theatres are the choices, like the bold choices. I mean, one of my favorite characters is Partagaz. And like Anton Lesser is just like an absolute god. I mean, I'm obsessed with him. And the choices he makes are just sort of so bold, but so precise
Yeah.
and so clear and clean, and they're just sort of, you can tell they're sort of very well rehearsed, rather than sometimes I think you get film actors who sort of enjoy being in the moment and sort of I mean, I didn't work with Ben Mendelsohn, but I feel like he's did you work, were you working
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
was he what was
He
that?
was this sort of he was brilliantly chaotic.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, incredibly talented guy and just amazing. But yeah, he was like a sort of a whirlwind of energy on set. Um, but yeah, I mean, in terms of my theatre background, it was obviously like, drama school, and I suppose it was everything I did before drama school was all theatre. So, and I think for me, the biggest shock I had, because again, I was also sort of trying to figure out how then to sort of make that switch and what the difference is between stage acting and screen acting, and how to be as good at screen acting as I possibly can be, as quickly as I possibly can be for Andor. But I think what surprised me so much with Tony's script is that it's feels quite different to a lot of other screenplays in that it does feel a bit more heightened. Like there was a few sort of kind of Shakespearean things that came into
Yeah.
play, like
Well, I mean, Luthen's.
Luthen's monologue, for example.
Well, yeah, that's all in verse, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
blank verse. Did-dum, did-dum,
Mm.
did-dum, did-dum.
Mm.
But also his surname,
Yeah, it's
Real is
Lear.
Lear backwards.
Yeah, do you know what? I didn't even realize that until season 2
I
came
didn't
out.
realize that until now.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
he was Captain Lear,
Yeah.
and because this is it, Tony is such a theatre buff, and actually when you look into sort of Kleya and Luthen, there are some really. I mean, it's no coincidence. There's actually quite a lot of crossover between the story of King Lear and Cordelia and Lear and Kleya. Yeah, it's amazing. But I suppose, yeah, it's sort of breaking down the text and specific sort of text work and some of the devices that Tony is using in his words. A lot of my training came in handy with that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was definitely going to dive into asking about Tony's script because just the monologues in that show, like you were saying, so rich. I mean, ranging from Luthen's monologue to Mon Mothma's monologue in the Senate when she
Incredible.
name drops Palpatine and
Yeah.
oh my god, spoilers. Sorry. Um, yeah, it's unreal. Do you guys have a specific moment in your scripts that you guys got for your characters that stuck with you? Maybe it's a quote or a line or interaction.
Yeah, there are two moments, and that neither of them are my lines actually.
Really?
So yeah, so one moment for me is Perrin's speech at the
Oh
wedding.
God, yes.
Killed
So
the
lovely.
moment I read that when he says, joy, seek out joy because I thought that that's such a brilliant yet simple and so true. It's so true to life. Yeah. So that, and there was one line, where that Luthen says in one of the flashback scenes, he says, "Life shows us what we stand to lose,"
Wow.
and that kept playing in my head in that final scene between Claire and Luthen at the end of episode 10. Just hearing him in my mind saying that, yeah, that's a beautiful idea.
I love the moments of like comedy that come into it weirdly for such a kind of bleak world.
Yeah.
But I think that's so clever because like reality is like everyday life, however bleak it is, there's always moments of light, there's always moments of comedy, and especially when characters are so sort of fully fleshed and have real relationships. So sometimes you see shows where it's fully bleak, and I just can't get on board with it. So like Peaky, has anyone seen Peaky Blinders? Like great show, but I find it quite hard because there's no light. It's all just brooding, and you're like, life isn't really like that. So Tony puts these wonderful moments of comedy and lightness all through the series, which I think
Calibrate your enthusiasm.
calibrate your enthusiasm.
so
Come on,
amazing.
what a line!
Oh,
Yeah,
so good. I think there are 3 comedic moments that stand out to me in Andor. It was the scene of you in the elevator
Yeah.
with the little. Was that a real?
So yeah, on that wheelchair there was the wonderful puppet, and then hidden underneath was the puppeteer. Yeah, so it was really heavy to push that around. So it was actually attached to a cable, and there was a grip on the end, like pulling it for me as I was pushing.
who made the sound? The puppet sound.
It was the
It was the
puppeteer.
puppeteer.
Yeah, it was all her own work. But so that was the only time the entire run, all of season 1 and 2, where I corpsed because our director Alonso was off to the side because the puppeteer couldn't see what she was doing at all. So he was I don't know the phrase. I call it side coaching, like telling her what he wants, and he was just getting so into it. It's like, Granny's off on an adventure. Granny's having a lovely time, and I was just there like trying, and it was
To keep it
I
straight.
completely corpsed because I was trying to focus on like what Claire is about to do, and
Such a
Alonso
heavy
was-
scene too.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
oh my
I rewound that.
Me
That
too.
was one of those moments. It's like what?
Yeah, there were 2 other rewind moments for
So,
me.
yeah.
It was the ending, near the end of the last episode when, Deidre gets revealed to be she's who's everyone's-
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler
Spoiler.
alert,
Put your
cover your
fingers in your ears.
Earmuff.
Go ahead.
she ends up being like a Narkina prisoner, and that was just for some reason these characters that are so bad, I kind of feel bad for them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those shows where it's so conflicting.
She's so well written. She's
She's
such a well written character.
That's
Yeah.
right. I mean, everyone seriously is such a well written character.
Same as Cyril, these journeys that he's
God,
just like,
yeah.
your opinions go on such a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Ben Mendelsohn, like you said, fantastic, incredible actor, but just ranting about calcite.
Yeah.
Synthetic calcite. Right. So I want to dive, Elizabeth, I want to dive into your costumes in Andor because that's a huge part of it. How did the look of costuming help you connect to your character further?
Yeah, amazing. So season 1, really, I turned up and I didn't really know. I mean, I had no idea how any of this worked, right? So I'd sort of made some choices, and I was fully prepared to walk into that fitting, and for Michael Wilkinson to just tell me what I'm wearing. Like I was just nervous, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna be told my costume is. But he was so amazing. He really listened to my ideas, and it really felt like a collaborative thing with Michael. So we tried on so many different looks, so many different styles, and that gallery dress, the one, the famous one that she wears all the time, her gallery look, it was something they'd knocked together that morning. Yeah, and they sort of brought it in, and it was like, oh, we'll just sort of try this on and just sort of see what this looks like. And it was this weird sort of, it had like tails, so it's kind of masculine, but then there was a skirt as well. It was sort of this masculine feminine crossover thing, and
Militant.
yeah, and I tried it on, and instantly, like, the symmetry of it, and because I'd just done like the hair trials as well, the combination of the symmetry of that outfit with the symmetry of the hair just made everything make sense, because everything she does is so precise, Kleya, and it was an incredibly precise look. And so sort of the way she stood, the way she uses her arms, like my physicality, I felt came to life when wearing that costume. Is huge, really, for character. Huge, particularly shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah.
shoes? Because I remember seeing these heels that you had in this incredible costume that had that
Mhm.
tailcoat whenever you're meeting with,
Mhm.
it's one of the last episodes in season 2 when you're meeting with Luthen and Mothma outside of, or was it Mothma? I don't know, but I paid attention to the shoes is what's
Huh.
important. So
Wait, which? Because there were a few.
okay, it was the one with the hood. You had the
Uh-huh.
hood. It was a navy blue.
Navy blue.
That
Uh-huh.
one, and then you had these heels that
Was
were
I meeting Luthen on the steps, or was it
Yes.
Luthen and Diego?
Oh my gosh.
Because so one of the pairs of
Right.
boots was just from Reese, which is a shop in the UK, and it was the same boots that I wore in season 1 with the red hood.
Okay, yeah.
And then there were these other boots that I wore when meeting Luthen on the steps in episode 10, the last time they ever see each other.
Right.
That it was a Spanish brand, but
That
they were
must have
like
been it.
skin tight, and
Right.
they were like leather trousers that I'd wear with it, so it was almost
Yeah.
like it looked like one long leather situation. Yeah, but the gallery shoes were Jimmy Choo.
Yeah. Did you take any?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did.
Oh,
I couldn't steal them.
Why not?
No, they didn't let me steal anything. I went around the whole gallery, like almost every day. I was like, "Can I have this? No, can I have this? Can I steal this?" And like, they never let me keep anything. I know. I'm hoping one day something just arrives in the post.
Yeah, right? Oh,
Yeah.
you'd hope. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I love how your costumes helped you get more into the character. That's how you know a costume designer is just phenomenal at their job. Even with Erskine, like you're an aide to Mon Mothma, so you need to be proper and high class.
Yeah, yeah.
What was
Your
that like for
outfits
you?
were amazing.
It was I didn't have much say in it. Like, that's you're wearing that. I was like, all right.
Fair.
And I was not unhappy about it. Amazing designs. That whole Chandrilla. I mean, that whole section, that whole world, the way they build that, like the world building in general, is just like absolutely insane. And yeah, Michael Wilkinson is a complete genius for it. So yeah, very very happy to have been a Chandrillan. Yeah, Chandrilla represent.
Weren't your shoes like really pointy? Am I remembering
They
that
were a
right?
nightmare. Yeah.
They don't get enough screen time.
No, because there was a lot. There were loads of scenes that they did get screen time. There were loads of shots, and I think they cropped some of it.
Because it was
Because
just
Diego came up to me on set one day, and it was just sort of, he was like, I saw some rushes of you walking, and he had this smile on his face. I was like, oh my god. And he was like, yeah. He's like, if you look at it too long, it's definitely too funny. I was like, oh god. So they have sort of cropped them out. But I think the hair was also a big
Right.
a big old thing. That's gonna be with me for the rest of my life. That
That's
hair,
amazing.
that
I
hairdo.
loved it.
Yeah, it's a choice. It's a real choice.
Kind of like Johnny Bravo.
Yeah,
style.
Erskine is a
Yeah.
big Johnny Cash fan. Yeah, yeah. But I'd walk on set and people would just start laughing. You're like, okay, this is how is this to
Not
go
nice.
down? No,
Come on.
in a good way. It was nice laughing.
I loved it. He hides a lot of secrets up there, I think.
Yes.
Love
Yeah.
secrets.
Big hair,
Yeah,
lots
a lot
of
of
secrets.
secrets.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy hair, crazy dude.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, I want to jump back to when you were talking about Tony Gilroy's script. It seems like, in theater, you have an opportunity most of the time to take the script and morph it into what you feel is right. Did you have that freedom when it came to Andor? Especially in Star Wars, there's so many guidelines of what you're allowed to say and how much you can improvise.
Yeah. Did you? So, I mean, it varied with directors. I found. Did you find that?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I felt like the script itself was very prescriptive. Sounds like a bad thing, but he was. I mean, Tony's words. There's not a single word on that page that does not absolutely have to be there. He has
Yeah.
stripped out anything and everything that is extraneous.
Yeah.
You
no
know.
fat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that it makes the character come across as so clear, but I think every actor adds their own little bit of juice or something. Like I think that's why with Kleya a lot of the switching that she does between deadly serious and then like, oh, I'm just a cute like little gallery shop girl, I'm innocent, yeah, I don't know anything, like that wasn't written in the script. That was me. But I think it's largely you just do what's on the page because it's so good. It actually makes your job so much easier.
Yeah, it's so easy, and there's like you've got natural reverence to it. You sort of don't want to mess with it. But then you have one of the directors was sort of very prescriptive, so you'd sort of say a line and you'd go, no, I want you to take the stress off that bit and stress onto that bit, and you're like, okay. So you sort of like robot it. But then like Ari, who did the first 6 episodes, was very like, you do a few takes. I mean, I only had a bit to do with it, but then at the end, you'd always say, let's do one for magic, which is like, do what you want, say what you want. And then, yeah, naturally, none of it ends up in the edit, but it still sort of gives you an opportunity to be a bit freer with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you the chance to play, especially
Yeah.
in a world that, I know you, Pierre, you were a fan of Star Wars before getting cast in Andor.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, were you a fan of Star Wars before getting cast? Did you watch the movies or?
So I
Hate it.
so I did not grow up in a Star Wars household. That's how I liked it. I'm sorry. But I've honestly found a lot of joy coming to it as an adult. I get what it's like to be part of a fandom, particularly when I was younger. So, when I was cast in this, who is it that was saying, Star Wars is a religion? And true. Isn't Jedi like literally a religion?
It literally is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's correct.
I put it in one of my censuses once.
Did you?
Yeah.
We have a Jedi, guys.
An actual Jedi, yeah.
So yeah, sorry, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it was so clear to me how important this was to the fan base. So really wanted to get it right because like if I was a kid, I went to go see an adaptation of something or whatever and they sort of butchered it, I'd be devastated, and I didn't want to do that to this IP that means so much to all of you. So no, I did not grow up in a Star Wars household. Actually, I think my dad sat me down to watch it when I was like, I don't know, really young. But all I remember is that there was a desert at some point.
New Hope.
But that's quite a lot of it,
Yeah,
isn't it? So
love a desert.
yeah, I really did not take much of it in.
It's all good.
But I was very young, and you couldn't sit me down for long, anyways. That was
I get it.
I wouldn't have-
Absolutely.
yeah.
For sure. Awesome. Well, I would love to get into audience questions. I believe we're going to have a mic somewhere. Yes. So before I get to my last question, if anybody has a question, please, we welcome you to ask whatever you'd like. We'll have a mic, so just raise your hand and we'll get to you guys. My last question for you, I would love to hear how your convention experience has been, because I know you're new to conventions, and this is actually your first convention.
This is my
right?
first convention.
How
yeah.
are you both? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
How are you
been-
both liking it so far?
It's been amazing. It's been such a privilege. It's been such an honor, especially for such an amazing cause like Voices Against Cancer. And I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I was drafted in last week. I got the email, and and I didn't believe it. I was just sort of like, what? And suddenly here I am, and I've had the most amazing day. And whoever I've met, out here, you've just all been so wonderful. And it's just so amazing to see something that we care about so much being received in such a sort of amazing and positive way by you guys who care about it as much as we do. It's just been an absolutely extraordinary day. So thank you all so much for making my first convention sort of this special. Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's been lovely. This has been genuinely one of the better conventions, if not the best.
Woo!
I'm not just saying that. Like it's everyone is so lovely. They've made us feel so welcome. It's you guys are great, and as you were saying, to be part of something that raises money for such a good cause, it's a no-brainer. Of course, we want to be here and do this. So yeah, it's truly been a lovely day so far. It's been great.
Love to hear it. We're happy you guys are here, for sure. All right, audience questions. Please raise your hand if you have one. Awesome. Yeah, we got one over there.
Nice.
Hi, so this is kind of a question for both of you here. When you were pursuing acting like on the screen and stuff, was there ever a point where you kind of reached a roadblock where you kind of just didn't know where to proceed from there? And if so, like how did you guys overcome it?
Now, what was the last part of that? Sorry, how did we?
If you ever had a point in your acting career where you just felt like you were stuck, you didn't know where to go, how did you overcome it eventually?
Thank you.
Well, I honestly think for me the answer feels my approach to it is very simple. If you feel like you've hit a roadblock, you just keep knocking on doors. I see myself as a bit of a door-to-door salesman of acting, right? And I'm selling my acting, and it can feel brutal when you're going door to door and nobody wants what you're selling. But like the only guarantee of failure is giving up. Truly. So just keep knocking on doors. Find other stuff to do in the meantime that you enjoy doing whilst you're going around knocking on doors. But eventually, someone's going to open a door and invite you in. If you just keep going, it will eventually happen. So keep going and find other stuff that you enjoy doing alongside of it. Don't make all of your life's happiness and joy rest on like that next job that you're hoping to get. Have other bring joy into your life throughout, via other means. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't add to that. That's exactly it. Yeah, just keep going on. Yeah, don't make it your life. Sort of those periods of not performing. It's so all encompassing, and the schedules are absolutely crazy. Whether it's theatre, film, or TV, that actually those periods of not working sometimes are. I've had 2 months since my last job, and it's been great. It's time to breathe and focus on friends and family and yourself and stuff like that. So it's a real privilege actually getting to those roadblocks and thinking it's all going to be fine. You've worked before, you will work again. Although sometimes it feels like you never will. You feel like that's it for me.
This is long.
But I think just enjoying the rest of your life. It's making it only a part of your life. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Great question. All right, we got another one right over here.
I think some of the most intense looks that were given at the camera had to do with just like the very precise angles of your head, the way that you would, Kleya in particular, would tilt her head and pierce through the camera and deliver this intensity. How much of that was like focus on a wall or focus on this piece?
Like a tennis ball.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Was that
God.
incorporated in the set design?
Yeah. So interestingly, with the script, that was one of the in season one, one of my sort of things I noticed through doing my work on the scripts is how often Tony would talk about Kleya's eyes. He mentioned it like 15 times throughout season one. So it sort of really gave me an indication of how he imagines her in his mind's eye. So there's that. But there was one particular moment where I was staring at a tennis ball and it was awful. It was so hard. It's when Kleya sees Luthen after he's, spoiler, after he's tried to kill himself in the gallery and he's being wheeled out on that stretcher and put into the back of an ambulance and all the RSB are at the gallery. And so Kleya sees that happen. It was literally a tennis ball.
Oh my god.
It was awful. And I had to imagine like this is my best friend. This is my entire world. My entire life is crumbling as this and the crew were amazing. They were all taking it very seriously. But it was a tennis ball on the end of a stick and he just sort of like, oh, put it up, Barry. And I had to just sort of like pretend to be crumbling. It was awful. Thank you. Thank you. I was so stressed about how that moment would come out and I'm surprised that it's not laughably bad. So yes, thank you.
They couldn't have put like a sad picture on it or something.
Sad picture of Luthen's face
Yeah.
floating away. No, yeah. I mean, Alonso did show me the rushes of that
nice.
scene between him and Denise just beforehand, so I could sort of, I don't know, see it, and it would help with the prep. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. All right, yeah, good question.
Do you have any stories you're willing to share offset with the cast going out and doing any shenanigans or pranks or anything of that sort?
I don't know.
You have one.
Well, I remember you having a particularly late night in Valencia.
Yeah.
That's
I was just about to tell that.
Yeah.
Jacob. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
set. We're set.
But it actually, this is like a really lovely story. It's like one of the off-screen highlights for me of the entire shoot. So yeah, we were all in Valencia for like 3 weeks, and we were in the hotel bar like 2 a.m. on like a Tuesday. And me and Jacob, we love going out for a dance. And we weren't like really close friends yet at this point. I mean, we've become like best friends since now. It's lovely. Anyway, 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, wanted to go out for a dance. No one else wanted to come out with us. Like, they were all happy to sort of sit around drinking in the hotel bar, which is like very cool. But
Very cool.
Me and Jacob love to dance. So we wanted to go out dancing. It got later and later. We couldn't convince anyone to come out with us. It got to like 4 a.m. and there were no clubs open at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday in Valencia. I don't know why. So Jacob just went back up to his hotel room. He grabbed his portable speaker and we just went out into the streets of Valencia and danced through the streets to the beach. And then we watched the sunrise and had some breakfast. It was like such a magical night. And we've been like really good friends ever since.
It's a nice story. I love how he asks, like, are there any pranks or crazy? And it's like the loveliest story I've ever heard. Oh my gosh. I love it. Did you have any, Pierre?
No, I don't know any pranks.
Yeah.
Or
Everyone was too well
I was
behaved.
quite well behaved. I remember being at the wedding and Ben Miles, who plays Tay Colmer, kept saying this line to Mon Mothma, to Genevieve, kept saying, I'll get Erskine to set up a meeting. But he refused to, he could only say, he was only said foreskin. He kept going, I'll get foreskin. And he kept saying it. And eventually Genevieve had to be like, I need this line to be Erskine.
Yeah.
Which was
Can't hear
very Ben.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the only prank I remember from it.
I can't unhear it now. I can't
Yeah, I
hear
know.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Great question. Yeah, I think we have another one.
Hi, I'm in community theater, and this is kind of more a theater, maybe TV acting question. So earlier you were talking about having your inner motivation being different from what's seen usually on the outset. So how do you as actors find that to convey your inner motives, and that so that the audience may be able to understand and receive what you're transmitting?
Yeah. So it's really hard. I mean, so usually I work with that in terms of characteristics as opposed to motivations. So you can talk about it in terms of like animal, like if your outer animal is like you like to protect that you're a big old lion and you're really brave, but inside you're like a scared little mouse, right? So that's sort of in terms of characteristics, I like to work in that way. But yeah, in terms of motivations, I liken that to obstacles. So a perfect example is with Kleya in that final scene of episode 10. Again, spoiler, you know, what she wants, her objective in that scene, or her motivation, is to kill Luthen. She absolutely has to go and do that. But her obstacle is the fact that she loves him. So her inner reality is totally at odds with what she has to do. And the key, it's really hard. The key is not to play your obstacle too strongly, because it's if you see someone playing their obstacle, it then it seems acted. So particularly on screen, I found that I have to do a lot of prep in the lead up to it, so that on the day that obstacle is just there without you even having to reach for it. So you always play your motivation, always play your objective and what you want, and you have to, the weeks leading up to it, do all sorts of prep. Like I daydream a lot, I use music a lot, I write a diary. So I mentally and emotionally try and live in that world as much as possible, so that on the day it just comes through without me having to push it. And it's really hard. It's just hard. But the more time you put into that prep, the more you get out of it. That's what I would say. Does that make any sense? Am I just rambling?
It makes so much sense.
No, I think
No,
I think
I
that's
agree.
great.
Did you want a clarification? Sorry.
And that would that be the fear keep out?
Absolutely. Yeah. Never ever play your obstacle. Your obstacle has to just be there. You always play the motivation, but the obstacle you have to do the work so that it comes through naturally.
Sort of bad acting is like acting is bad acting.
Yes. Yeah.
Ironically, if you act, if you do something, if you have complete command over the circumstance and your place in that scene, if a complete understanding of it, and just, I mean, it's not method. Method is different, but it's just believing it to an extent where you don't have to display it. That is just naturally comes. And I think also that's where it's not just us. We have other people there with us doing it with us, which helps you. And you have the director, is a bit in theatre or film is invaluable in making sure that you display that in the most sort of subtle, believable way, I guess.
You're welcome.
Oh, microphone is on.
We hear you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So first, thank you very much for coming all the way over to South
Of
Dakota
course.
Pleasure.
from the UK. So within sort of the final version that we all get to see, we have the layers of the phenomenal writing and then the world building and the costumes, but the very end, that layering on of the score and the music always drives the emotions of what you're supposed to be feeling. I was curious if, particularly with Pierro in the escape from the Senate, and then with Kleya in the safe house right after Luthen is taken, were there any scenes in which you interpreted and felt it differently after having performed with just what you had on the page and then seeing that music overlaid with it?
I don't think so, actually. I feel like that might. I mean, you might have a different experience. I mean, there's one thing sort of watching a performance back and going, "Oh God, that's not how I thought I did it. It felt better than that." But there's another thing, and I think the world building is so brilliant, and everyone on that crew is so adept at making these sets and these sort of situations that it usually feels pretty accurate on the day. I mean, I remember the extraction in the Senate. That all of that stuff was amazing to film because they sort of steady cammed a lot of it, so that whole sequence was one long sequence, and then I think sort of cut up. Yeah, it was amazing. We had like a whole day's rehearsal on it, so all that stuff was really felt like you were there and really felt like, which I think comes across. I think is that what you're asking? Have I answered that? I think it really, those situations felt like how they came across, which is a really thrilling thing actually to have been a part of something like that, because sometimes it can be quite bitty and you're just sort of doing little sections but no, that's most of my stuff felt pretty accurate inside to how it seemed on the outside actually. But then obviously you layer the music and the editing obviously elevates it to like a more dramatic kind of a more dramatic way, but it feels as epic. Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I would say like everything, as we were shooting it on the day, it felt very much how it came across in the final. It's such a well-organized show, like it didn't feel like it needed to change very much at all in post. Like what we shot was the show. Nothing was cut out or added on. It was, it was really well organized. But in terms of, were you talking specifically about music as well? Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can we get a little bit up on the mic? Just slightly up on the volume. Thank you so much.
Now, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So like specifically with Kleya, right after Luthen is taken, and you're just standing in the safe house, completely destroyed. I'm pretty sure it's Luthen's theme that's playing during that. But I was a mess, like an absolute mess. And even though the visual was like putting that on top of it was just like destroying. I'm assuming you don't hear any of that while you're there. So like, how does that play over after that gets added?
You will be delighted to hear that. So because I work a lot with music, I mentioned this to Alonso and he said, well, would you like to play some music while we shoot that moment?
Sick.
When Kleya is just like in the safe house. In the script it says she's caught. She's caught in that moment, not sure what to do. And so I was blasting out Luthen's theme.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then later, when after episode 10 and she's sort of building the radio and everything, I put together specifically a playlist with loads of like techno songs, like really stressful techno beats, just to sort of amp up the energy, because she's like in a completely different sort of energetic state than you've ever seen her before, that she's like totally wired because she's still got this job to do, but she's like frantic. But in that playlist as well, I would have Luthen's theme, and I would have On the Nature of Daylight by Max. I use that song a lot. That reminds me a lot of Luthen, and so I play it on shuffle, and I'd have it in my earbuds just before the director would call action. So I'd be listening to all this techno, and then all of a sudden On the Nature of Daylight would come in, and it would remind me of Luthen, and it was just a really interesting, useful prep. Yeah.
Oh. Do you think you choosing Luthen's theme at that moment influenced them playing it, or they would have played it anyway?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, it's all me. I influence them, sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
And that wraps up our live interview with Elizabeth Dulau and Pierro Niel-Mee from Andor. And I want to say a huge thank you again to the 605 Pop Culture Con and Voices Against Cancer for making this event possible, and for the incredible work they do supporting families facing pediatric cancer. If you enjoyed this episode of We're Gonna Have Company, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you loved it, share it with a fellow Star Wars fan. It really helps the show grow, so I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, may the Force be with you.